It is Fright Night in Reno, Nevada. Welcome back to the special stage Jota series for a one-off event here on Halloween night. Multi-class action around the wonderful, the notorious, the well-known Wild West Motorsports Park. We have half an hour of racing to bring to you with 3 classes for these drivers. You'll be familiar with 2 of them, the Pro 4 and the Pro 2 light classics of the off-road racing. This one, not so much. It is a dirt UMP modified. Going to be taking something a bit unusual for it. A couple of right turns at this track, although actually, now think about it, just the one right turn at this track. So maybe it's quite a good fit. The jumps are a little bit tricky. You see Tom and Hymus expertly navigating, of course. Taking a 46.7. The Pro 4s are into the 49s right now. That's David Holdren that you're seeing right now. Stephen Thompson as well behind in that. We got Sandhausbacher is your best Pro 2 light runner currently with a 52.1. Of course, Time and Tower is showing everyone in one group, and with the chaos that is going to come with multi-class dirt racing, I think that is a pretty fair comparison. You want to try and pick up every overall position that you can. Although, of course, we are also going to be keeping an eye on who can take the honours in each class. Let's keep an eye on a driver like Chad Ball in the 607 coming to finish a qualifying run. This is in the Pro 2 Light. I'm going to park it up. Now let's go to Mladen Lakovic in the 106. A lot of experience in the Pro 2 last time he ran a special stage Pro Truck season. Now has that four-wheel drive, of course. Going to try and make the most of it. A 48.8 to beat from David Holdren for the best in class. Lakovic is going to jump up and is going to find it. He's going to go 0.2 faster than Holdren and Thompson, and is now going to just try and build that buffer, get some last minute experience before we head into the race. Again, this is going to be a very interesting race because the characteristics of these trucks are going to be very different. Of course, the Pro 2, Pro 4 World Cup over at Crandon each year is a well-known event. The Pro 2s get a head start in that to make up for the Pro 4's additional pace. Not going to have that, and also, remember, these are the Cut Power Pro 2 lights on offer. Both that and the Dirt UMP are free content, which means anyone can hop in and give this a go. Of course, I think if you're in Special Stage, you probably own the full fat dirt trucks and have the Pro 4. See that wonderful Bermudian with Ken Block inspired scheme. There's the 43 next to the 150, of course. Let's see what sort of lap time Greg Johnson can find. It'll be the one and only attempt here in qualifying for the 150. And after that, we will head straight in to the race. And it's a good lap. It's good enough to slot in ahead of Stephen Thompson for the qualifying 5th overall. It really does seem like the UMPs and the Pro 4s are pretty well matched. Aside from Tom Manheimus, who has been putting in some practice, I think, has been absolutely dominant in this here. Very excited to see how that persists throughout tonight's race. But without further ado, let's take a look at our starting grid. It's going to be a standing start, so we better get through quickly here. And it's not graded by class. We've got Tom Manheimus in the DUMP, who started on pole. Lakovic in the Pro 4 will start alongside. Then we've got David Holdren, Greg Johnson, and Stephen Thompson, all in those Pro 4s behind. Back to the UMPs for James Watson, second in class, 6th overall, and Matt Schlosser behind. Then we have a Zach Ansbacher in the Pro 2 Light, a 52.0. Great lap for those Pro 2 Light machines. Will be on pole in class. Joshua Heedy in the UMPs and Chad Ball will start and round out the top 10. Then Joey Herbie, Will Melski, and Colin McDonough rounding out those Pro 2 Light machines. Paul Ellison in the Dirt UMP. Down to drivers without times on the board. Ant Meeperson, Caden Grillo, and Joshua Motorchek in those UMP machines. And then James Vining rounds out the field in a Pro 4 to try and go back to front. Of course it's going to be a standing start. Why would it be anything other than a standing start? But it caught me off guard just a little bit. Thankfully, Mladen Lakovic is making sure I've got some time to get through the grid lineup. It's not quite on the track just yet. But I talked about these UMP machines because, of course, we all know how incredible these Pro 4s are. These UMPs are going to be two-wheel drive, I'm almost certain. 750 horsepower and super light. But the lights are coming on. And we are going to be green here on Halloween night. And it's a great start from Latvich, from Holdren. You can see those UMPs not great in a straight line, struggle for traction compared to the Pro 4s, but look at the switchback from the 007. Incredible move. It's going to lead down the hill on the exit of turn number 1 with Pro 4s in pursuit. Can Mannheimers get away from the field? He's had such good qualifying pace, but it's a different matter getting it through with an angry Hornet's Nest behind. It looks like is going to manage it. Great work there from Tom Mannheimers. Again, pace all to himself. Oh, and that's a big incident there. That's made Latvich out into the wall. Contact with Greg Johnson. Gonna force that truck wide, but they are gonna hold on. Looking further back into the field here. You can see how hard the UMPs are to control over these bumps. They are offset. They're designed to turn left. They're not really great at turning in a straight line. It's caught up there. Barrel rolling with, I think that might have been Chad Ball. Luckily, Stitz landing does match Schlosser, lands on all 4, but could have a fair bit of damage here. Might be struggling, and oh yeah, that wheel is not attached. Gonna have to struggle back to pit lane, it looks like. Nasty incident for the series organizer. Meanwhile, you see the UMPs mixing up with the Pro 2 lights here. It seems like these UMPs really struggle for long run pace, and it's really only 007 who's managed to get control of it. Incredible work from Mannheimers so far. Got a little bit of old-fashioned Pro 2 light action on the mark here as we see a driver pull into the pits. That looks like Joshua Motorchak needs to take some repairs. There's a UMP up the inside. That's going to be Ant Meeperson making a move, maybe finding the footing now. They're not in so much traffic. You can see a little bit of damage to these dirt trucks, but they can take it. The concern really is on these oval machines and how good they are at tanking a hit, and as well landing over those jumps, which they are not typically accustomed to unless you make a real bad mistake at one of those tracks without an outside wall. Caden Drill in the 67 going round the outside of the final corner as Joey Hervey stranded on that inside line. That's where the Pro 2s want to be, but again, using that oval experience, the car very good at turning left and so finds great traction, but just doesn't quite have the drag down the straightaway. Luckily, it's another left-hander coming up, but over-rotates it, gets into the berm, and is going to lose out. And now, this is the real challenge. So the dive the inside, but has to turn right through here. And oh my goodness, where did he come from? That's Lakovic. I think there was no contact with anyone, but oh my... We're going to have to investigate exactly what happened. And also... we've got a Chris Leone showing up. 3 laps down, managed to make it into the session. Welcome in, buddy. See whether he can pick off some spots through attrition as we go back and look at some early replays here. This was the incident between Matt Schlosser. You see just struggling over this first jump. It hits to the left. And then barrel roll, barrel roll, barrel roll. 4 rotations, it looks like. Lands on all 4 wheels. Holds onto it. We had an incident with James Watson as well that we'll go back and look at. Number 39. Very distinctive colours, as we expect from Watson. Very cautious over the tabletop. And in fact, looks like may have had maybe a mechanical issue on that car. Pulls to the outside. Finally, it's refired. Glad that he could get going once again. But now, what on earth happened to Mladen Lakovic? This is a crazy, crazy incident. We're going to actually ride on board from the nose cam, I think, here. Gets caught. Hoops it over. The 150 of Greg Johnson gets caught as well. And the only way out is by using all 900 horsepower, jumping over, but now you're stranded. You're stuck on the inside. You've got to try and navigate the best you can, and I mean, I'm not to say it was the cleanest rejoin, but I think everyone made it through in one piece, so you can't really argue too much about that. James Watson coming out the pit lane. I think might have just stopped to let people by, potentially, unless something horrendous happened to the number 39. No, gets away with it. Just anxiety from the replay machine. Matt Schlosser as well. I think this is a thing we have to watch out for those in the replays. Caden Dallas lost the tyre there. The wheel's not attached. Let's roll it back a little bit further, see exactly what went wrong. And it's already gone. How long has he been driving like that? Or does it break off a jump here? Potentially. Unfortunately, Caden has to tow back to the pit lane in the 67, and it's going to have a long repair to fix that up. As we cut back now to live pictures. Tom Manheimus is running away with this one. He's the only driver who's really found performance in that UMP machine, although I don't know if that car is driving exactly how he'd like it to right now. David Holdren just now coming through the hairpin, has a 6-second lead over his competitors. The Delta's R2 leader in class, in case you were wondering. So Johnson and Thompson very close behind, fighting with each other. But let's set it to intervals. I think that'll then show us who is in the closest battles. We've got Chad Ball and Will Molesky fighting through turn number 1. Ball gets the move done. Does Molesky have a response now down into turn number 2? Gets left a little bit of room, but it looks like the drive off the corner will be enough. And this is actually going to be lapped traffic for the first time Tom Manheimus had to deal with. It's had a pretty clean run of things so far, but these fragile UMP machines might struggle once they have to mix in with the other classes in its half-hour race, estimated at 38 minutes. Doing a great job managing things so far. As, oh goodness, a couple instants further back, let's have a look back at this. Joshua Heedy and Paul Ellison getting caught up here. 2 of our UMP machines. And it's going to be this first jump, completely kicks to the right-hand side, into the fence. And then tries to open up, and I think... I know Ellison has gotten caught up in something else in this. Coming out of the final corner. Again, these jumps are so brutal on these cars. We were expecting it to be a challenging race and just struggling for control. Car bucking underneath. Matt Schlosser ends up in the outside wall there. I think that may be damage from an earlier jump, potentially. I mean, it's a right-hander. It's not particularly friendly for those cars. I think we might just be seeing Ellison being very cautious over the jumps, realizes how much damage can be done. That is pretty much how to describe it, Ellison. So that's Matt Schlosser we have down on pit lane currently. Here's Ant Beepson in the number 13, second place in the UMPs, but 34 seconds back right now. It is an incredible show of pace from Tom Manheimus to have such a lead, is actually behind the top 4 Pro 4 machines, and all 4 that started the race. We have one who did not take the grid, and then we also, of course, have Chris Leone working through from the back, looking to get in some trouble. Speaking of, has actually just been passed by your race leader. That's Tom Manheimus on the outside. How he's getting that rotation in a right-hand corner in an oval car that's designed for one thing, and that's turning left, I do not know. Getting caught up in the wall with the Walmart machine. That's Joshua Heedy in the number 7. Manheimus got to be careful to not get caught out on that one. He's going to go far to the outside, try and rip it all the way against the fence. And finding some great traction out there. Great run from Manheimus. Not quite clear of Joshua Heedy just yet. Even for someone like Tom, those jumps are so tricky. Here's Chris Leone now getting into a little bit of a duel with, that is going to be Zach Amsbacher, your Pro 2 light leader, currently running in 7th place overall. You got Herbie, Ball, and Molesky behind. It's interesting, you do have these kind of clusters of drivers, it seems like. 2nd through 5th, all Pro 4s, 7th through 10th, all Pro 2 lights. And then the UMP is very much the wildcard choice for this race. All over the place, because they can be very quick in isolation, as we've seen from Manheimers, but they are also an absolute handful, as Joshua Heedy is getting very much familiar with. Some great running so far. Let's keep an eye on Chris Leone, make sure he doesn't bully too much as some lap traffic. Making the move on Colin McDonough here, 5th place in the Pro 2 light class. Leone currently 4 laps down of your overall leader, 3 down to class competition, and David Holdren's in the pit lane. Is this a scheduled stop? I think it might be. This is an aspect that we haven't talked about just yet. Let's have a look at instant for Joshua motor check real quick. Almost loses it down the exit of turn number 1, and then struggles over, rotates it in turn 2, gets a little bit stuck and has to back it out. David Holdren leaving the pit lane after a pit stop. These trucks, the Pro 2 lights and the Pro 4s, cannot go a full 30 minutes on fuel, and so they are forced to take stops every so often. Now Greg Johnson on the way into pit lane. Thompson going for a long stint. This is going to be lap number 15 for the Pro 4 machine. The UMPs are not able to refuel, but from what we are told, they are able to make the race on 1 tank, thankfully, and so there shouldn't be a requirement for that. We will see how that goes. I've seen those calculations go awry more than a couple of times. Stefan Spacker to the outside of Colin McDonough. This is 2 trucks a lap apart on each other. Amsbacher still out on the first tank. I think we're expecting the Pro 2 lights to extend a little bit further than the Pro 4s, having that a little bit less horsepower means they can make a little bit more of their fuel. Stephen Thompson is still out there. We are only 2 minutes away from the halfway point of this race. Is Thompson fuel saving to make this a one-stop? I mean, it's strategy. If I was in this sort of race, I'd do the same. It's maybe not in the extreme spirit of things, but also it's a competition all the same. And Thompson is still out there, still hanging on. Okay, pit lane time for these drivers is about 50 seconds, including a full tank, which takes about 20 seconds to take. You can have tyres while you're at it, I think, maybe in that amount of time. And the tyres will be important, especially for the Pro 4 machines. They really do chew through them. But I can't believe I'm seeing fuel saving in a dirt truck race. I wonder if Chris Leone has worked out that strategy as well, of course. Part of the team that runs races of 100 minutes in various off-road machines. Typically not anything as crazy as the UMP, of course. And the fuel limitation or lack of refueling, a little bit of a barrier for that one. There peels off Zach Amsbacher and Joey Herbie, so they are actually going to pit right before halfway and hope to make it to the end. Stephen Thompson, the Pro 4, is continuing on, is going to make it to halfway. As long as the tank doesn't give out right here. This is remarkable, as in fact, basically the entire Pro 2 Light field is currently in pit lane. Filing out right now is Zach Amsbacher, who is going to leave in 6th place, 2 laps off your overall lead. And I don't know what to say. Is Thompson pitting this time by? Yes, peels off just in the nick of time. Clock is at 14:45. We are at the halfway point of this one. And Stephen Thompson finally comes into pit lane. But he set himself up for the one stop. Again, let's show how long these stints have been. So the other Pro 4s are already 4-5 laps into their second stint. If they pit because they were out of fuel, they are going to have to pit one more time. Take about a 30-second pit lane time plus maybe 5-10 seconds worth of fuel. Stephen Thompson, if he stays in the clear here, could be absolutely... could be made. Let's do the interval. Again, this is difficult to keep up with, partly because this is, I think, the first multi-class event that we've really broadcasted with this timing tower, and also just because there's so much going on, so many different dynamics in the racing. This is David Holdren, who currently actually holds the lead, is 9 seconds ahead of Stephen Thompson, so that is what the fuel savers cost the number 24. But if it saves a pit stop, then it seems all the more worth it to me. Seeing Joshua He coming through his 3rd in class right now, was struggling early on, but has found something to work with. Chad Ball is fighting Latovich for position despite being in a Pro 2 Light. That's the trick ahead. Remember, Latovich had the instant down at turn 2, which lost him a fair chunk of time. But it looks like Latovich is working his way through, and now Chris Leone trying to also find a gap, as is Joshua Heedy. All 3 classes under a blanket here. You can see the power difference. Leone gives a shot to the back of that dirt to the 607 of Chad Ball. And now it is between Leone. There's going to be maybe contact, not quite. Heedy just about gets away with it. And is Leone finally clear of the Pro 2 Light machine? Just about. Has to rip it round the outside to make sure. But he's going to get the run off to one. We'll have the inside for turn 2, the all-important inside. That's a bit further. We'll track this is a battle for 2nd place in Pro 4. 3rd place overall. Greg Johnson makes the move on Stephen Thompson. Thompson, is he going to fight back, or is this, dare I say, a chance for some slipstream? As goes around the outside here of that number 150 truck. I don't quite know what I'm seeing right now. Oh, wiggle for Matt Schlosser, coming off the jump towards turn number 1. Ends up sandwiched between Johnson and Thompson, and he's actually going to back off, let them 2 fight. Knows it is a huge battle between them. Of course, Thompson has the ace in the hole, has the fuel save number to potentially make this a completely different fight. But some other incidents that we've had in the past few minutes. James Watson got up into the outside wall again. That right-hander, the real trouble. It's broken that left front tyre. And as much as you lean on the outside tyres through the corners, that is a little bit too much to ask. Watson tows it back to pit lane. 400 of Matt Schlosser as well. Over the jump, big air. Bounce, and can't get it stopped. I think the wheel buckled, in fact. And I think he has to tow it back to pit lane as well. And oh no, Chris Leone came in for the pit stop, in fact. Was there an incident afterwards? Lap truck, I'll draw increased scrutiny on the 40. A little bit wide, taps the wall. But mostly, I'll let Chris get away with that one. I am still fascinated by what Thompson is doing. This is not how I expected this race to go. Then let's go on board one more time. I'll shut up for a second. Okay, well, at least keep on the track first of all. In here. No, Stephen, no! Oh, he's got it stuck. Might have to take that second pit stop after all. Ends up on the second barrier. He's going to try and reverse it out. Gets clear. But has lost a huge amount of time there. And I mean, has burnt a fair bit of fuel trying to get that truck back out of its situation. Let's have one more look at this from the external camera. Threw it in. Just didn't quite get the slide through the corner that he was hoping for and up onto the wall. It's now 20 seconds behind Red Johnson, 30 behind the class leader of David Holdren. And it's looking like it could be a margin with that where the 524 might have the delta to make this work. Colin McDonough's ended up backwards. How's that happened? Oh, a tad to the wall as well on the way out. Oh, and it is the 124. That is Will Molesky getting physical, and just a little bit ran out of room there was McDonough, unfortunately. Ends up the wrong way around, has to wait for a good gap to spin it around. It's a nice, clean exit. Let's have a look now at Matt Schlosser one more time. Sorry, Matt, but I know it's a name to go to if I see it in the reel, and that is reverse entry to the final corner. Doesn't quite make it stick, but a nice, clean turnaround to get going once again. I don't know how those tyres are going to be feeling in the UMP. That is going to be a nightmare scenario. So credit to anyone who gave that a go and is making the best of the situation. Again, you've got Ant Meeperson there, second overall, or second in class I should say, but 2 laps down from Manheimus. Had to make a pit stop actually, I think maybe to take some damage repair. You're seeing David Holdren fly past. Behind this is Joey Herbie in the Pro 2 Light, third in class for the 53. And that was a struggle for Meeperson. Is that a busted tyre on the left front, I should say? It must be, because he's gone right up into the wall. He's going to try and wall ride it, but ends up out of bounds. And he's going to get thrown back to pit lane. Tragic for Ant Meeperson, but has a 3-lap lead to third place. Has a fair amount of buffer to work with. I'm going to go back to our gap time, which is actually, the timing tower works out pretty well right now. It is, once Meeperson gets filed down, Manheimus in the Dirt UMP doing absolute magic. I don't know how he's managed to keep this so composed for so long. Just needs to make sure to not lose it now in the final 6 minutes. But has a 1-lap lead over anyone and a 3 and counting lap lead over anyone else in this car. Truly incredible stuff from the 007. Past that, though, it is your group of Pro 4s, I should say. Again, about 900 horsepower in these machines. David Holdren leads the way in this one, ahead of Greg Johnson. And Stephen Thompson, going for that fuel-safe strat, but had that incident down at turn number 3, is now playing catch-up, needs a long stop from David Holdren, and needs to make it on fuel to try and flip the script and get a victory here. Vlakovic stuck 1 lap down after some trouble, especially that incident down at turn number 2. Then the rest of the top 10, Amsbacher, Ball, Herbie, Molesky, and McDonough. Those are your Pro 2 light runners. Amsbacher here catching up to, I think this might be Molesky in the 1-2-4, looking to try and put that car 1 lap down, and is going to manage it through turn 1. Molesky in that Bucky's machine just runs a little bit wide, leaves the door open, and Zach moves through, has an 18-second lead over the rest of the field. Has run 1 more lap on fuel, I think. No, everyone in the prototypes pit at the same time. And Molesky and McDonough are, of course, the last cars in class, although Meepson now joining this fight is right behind Stephen Thompson here, but also is just ahead of McDonough for 10th place overall. And we have about 5 laps to go. I am just going to try and calculate this. We have 3 minutes and 45 seconds as we cross the line. I think I've got to... Yeah, I am going to override this. I think we have 5 laps to go now. So manual counting of this, estimating what Manheimers can do. I mean, no one should have guessed what Manheimers can do compared to the rest of the field. Still managing it. Seem very cautious through those, through that one right-hander that this car is going to struggle with so severely. And you can see it's not a comfortable ride by any means. But Tom is still digging all the way through, heavy landing on that right front tyre. How is it looking? Still managing pretty well. Now catching up to Stephen Thompson. Going to try and put the 24 2 laps down in a race where his closest competitor is behind everyone in the Pro 4 field, except for Chris Leone. I'm so impressed by what Tom has been able to do. We've seen what his skill has been in these trucks, but to hop into a completely different car entirely and perform at this level, at this consistency, the whole way is truly fantastic. There's a chance he could extend this 1 more lap even from my estimate, but is struggling for performance there. I think it is going to be a 37 lap affair for Manheimers. The other question marks in the field here, as Thompson had another incident, in fact. We'll go back to have a look at what happened to Stephen Thompson. And this is crucial because Thompson, looking to go to the end on fuel, over-rotates it on the jump, has to park it on the entry of turn number 1, and just ends up stranded, has to wait to turn around. Gets going again, but is now 43 seconds behind the 5-2-4 of David Holdren, who is coming to the line. Has been passed by your overall leader for 2 laps to go here, and is going to stay out. Is there going to be a splash and dash at the white flag? Johnson is 2 laps better on fuel, but this is, let's pull up the stint lengths real quick. Lap number 21 of the stint for David Holdren. Was it an early stop tactically just to get that undercut working, or is this a fuel mileage affair? He is a 1.5 seconds off his pace, but the track conditions have changed so much over what we would normally see in one of these races. Such a long race. Holdren is to the inside of Stephen Thompson to put that car 1 lap down, but does the 5-2-4 need fuel? No, is going to stay out. Tom Manheimers has been given the white flag. This is the final lap of the race. And the 007 has put the entire field a full lap down. You can see David Haldren just behind. The pit stop, of course, an assist there, but Tom was running clear the whole way today. I run out of superlatives for this drive in an oval car, to manage it over the jumps, to manage it through the right-handers. Is going to try and put Ant Meeperson another lap down, coming to the checker. That'd be 4. Can't quite manage it. Ant Meeperson will continue on, but Tom Manheimus wins by a lap in a dirt UMP. David Haldren will come home, winning the Pro 4 class, with Greg Johnson looking to file through behind. Thompson's fuel save gambit doesn't work out. It was a one-stop for the field. And now we look just to Zach Amspacher, who, in fact, is the only truck on this lap. All the cars behind have been shown the checker. Chad Ball's been shown the checker. Joey Herbie is just about to reach the line now. And so it will be, in the Pro 2 Light class, the number 22 who takes home the race victory, finishing 36 laps. Only losing 1 to the Pro 4s over a race of this length is a really impressive feat. So credit to Zach, credit to Haldren, to Manheimus, and to the entire field for putting on one hell of a show. Looks like Manheimus has found his way out of the track just a little bit. Let's see what celebrations Haldren might have. Nice, calm, collected. The 524 taking home the Pro 4 class win. I know what my celebration would be if I was here. I'd throw it full over the jump through to turn number 1, trying to go around the wall. So Hamspacher, burn it down, give the fans some dirt to go home with. A win by a lap on the score sheet. I don't think it was that far off that on the track before getting separated by the checker. Great run from the number 22 to finish out this race. So let's look at those final results from the Halloween madness here at Wild West Motorsports Park. And Tom Manheimus, the story of the day, in a dirt UMP, outclassing not just his own class, but the rest of the field. Winning by 1 lap over the Pro 4 class winner of David Haldren. Picked up 10 seconds over the course of 30 minutes over the 150 of Greg Johnson and Stephen Thompson. Falling 1 lap down to Haldren just at the end of the race there. Lakovic 4th in class, 5th overall. Zach Amspacher will be your winner in the Pro 2 Lights, with Chad Ball and Joey Herbie rounding out that podium. Ant Meeperson, 9th place for the second dirt UMP modified. Very tricky machines, a battle of survival for the oval cars here tonight, ahead of Will Naleski and Colin McDonough, rounding out your Pro 2 Light field. Chris Leone, the latecomer, joined about 4 laps down, ended up finishing 5 down. I think a pretty clean race, all things considered, for the number 40. Just couldn't quite make it to the grid in time. I'm sure he had his very, very important reasons for that, of course. Very busy man in the number 40. And then the rest of the dirt UMP field, you can see the lap differences. A very tricky car, making a lot of repairs, unfortunately. Joshua Heagy, Matt Schlosser, Paul Ellison, Joshua Motortech, James Watson, and Caden Gullo. Again, these are strong drivers. This is just one of those combos that will chew you up and spit you out if you even just get a little bit too confident over a jump. Suspension can collapse. That is your 18 car field for tonight. What a incredible, crazy race that we just had. So, as we cool things down here, the first person I want to talk to, I think, is pretty fair. Tom, how did you do that in that car? You were in a class of your own today.
To be honest, I don't even know. I think part of the reason was, I avoided the tow, thankfully. I think I was the only one who didn't stop, but had the pace, just like keeping it smooth. Don't destroy the car every lap, and then keep it clean, keep the pace up, and yeah.
Talk us through the challenges of driving what is ostensibly an oval car. It's probably good through 3 of the turns here, but let's talk about turn 2 and let's talk about the jumps as well and the straightaways. How do you make sure to keep the car in one piece, keep all those wheels where they should be for a race as long as this?
Pretty much just avoid airtime as much as possible. You do not want to be slapping that suspension down on the dirt, otherwise that wheel is ripping right off. It's really tough to try and be fast and avoid all the damage, because I was carrying wheel damage from like lap 3, and I was like, okay, I should probably back the pace down a bit now, and kept it clean after that.
And I did see you prefer that outside line, especially at turn 4, quite a lot. Did this car feel at home out there for just a little bit?
I think it's kind of almost, because I guess it's slightly more banked out there. It can help it just turn its back to its more natural environment. So yeah, that certainly helps a bit to go through there, and then the exit isn't as harsh on the first downhill, which is quite nice to avoid some damage as well.
Well, all I think I have to say is congratulations. You put on a great show. You showed that this car really can be thrown through its paces if you are if you're capable. So well done on the overall win in the UMP. If there's anything you want to say to the fans at home, now would be the time.
Thanks to everyone watching, everyone who showed up. Shout out you, Olivia, on the broadcast, and Matt for putting up the league, and shout out iRacing.
All right, thank you so much, and we'll see you around.
Thanks very much, Olivia. See you in a bit.
That was your overall winner here tonight in the 007, Tom Manheimus. We'll now drop a little bit further down the field, pull in your Pro 2 Lite race winner. And Zach, that will have felt a little bit more normal for you than maybe for the UMP runners, but of course it's a 30-minute race in a truck that definitely takes some beats and bands. How do you manage keeping the car in one piece throughout the full length of an event such as this?
Yeah, it's tough racing around the UMPs, especially because just the way that they make their lap time is so much different than the pro trucks are, especially the Pro 2 Lite being a little underpowered. So you just kind of try to manage the gap. Like, they're going to pass you on the straightaways, but then they're going to be slow in the corners. So just not be too aggressive and, lose the. I think I kept all my body panels on for the whole race. So just a bit of patience there, and try to, see where they're fast and where they're slow, and just try to make the best of racing side by side with them without making too much contact. And I think I was able to do a good job of that tonight.
Yeah, it was a great show. Let's talk about the pit lane very quickly. This is a track that is not really designed for live pit stops, but we saw a flood of the Pro 2 Lite machines dive to the right-hand side at start-finish. How difficult is it to push that pit entry without sending yourself off into the void?
Oh, it's terrifying. That's why I checked way up before the jump, because I had plenty of gap to P2, so I didn't even push it. So maybe I'm not the best person to ask that, but I've definitely done some practice there, and if you try to send it into pit road, it doesn't take much, and you can actually just fall right off the side there. And yeah, you're going to try to push for a second, but you'll end up, ruining your whole race. So I just checked up before the jump. I mean, I still carried a little bit of speed, but yeah, I didn't go very aggressive in the pit lane. I didn't need to.
Fair enough. Nice and sensible. I've definitely thrown the truck towards pit lane a few times, but it's normally after a race and not really with anything at stake. So doing it
Yeah,
in a full-on race is definitely a different matter entirely.
yeah, don't pit these things too often, but I like the challenge. It's fun. It's something different.
All right. Well, you were able to bring home the win. Actually, one more thing I do want to ask about.
Yeah.
How bad was the track evolution by the end of the race? Like, how much were you really feeling that the line had worn away?
Quite a bit. I don't know percentage wise where it ended up, but it was definitely a lot. Now, me personally, I enjoy that because I just think I can still put a good lap down, and maybe versus the competition, that's one of my strengths is when the track wears out. So it didn't bother me. It's a lot of fun, but it was definitely getting closer to 80% wear probably if I had to guess. Starting to really plow in there. You had to really fight to get the truck to rotate through the corner.
Well, good job adapting to those conditions over the race. And congratulations on the race win in the Pro 2 Light class. Is there anything you want to say to the fans at home? Now would be the time.
Yep, just thanks to TG Power Sports for supporting me and my race team as always. And shout out to my teammate Tom. I think he put a hurting on the field there in the UMPs. He's never even raced a UMP before, so I don't know how he managed to not break the car. And I think he finished a lap ahead of the rest of his competition. So shout out to him, and then shout out to Chad Ball. He's a newer driver to the pro trucks. I think he finished second there to me, so he put in a really good race, and he's learning and doing a really good job so far. And yeah, thanks to Matt. It's a fun Halloween race. Hope everybody had fun.
Well, thank you for putting on the show, and we'll see you around.
Yep, thanks, Olivia. See ya.
That was your Pro 2 Light race winner. Yeah, I mentioned the Red Ball in the 607. I've got to say, I'll ask him. Give me a moment. We'll bring in second place in the Pro 2 Light right here. Chad, how was that as an experience in the special stage series?
That for one, I didn't expect to qualify P2. Zach has been an unbelievable help to getting me to speed and just kind of training me just to be faster. Could not thank them enough for giving me time and just helping me along the way. But I didn't really have expectations just with having the UMPs, and I drove maybe 4 laps of that car in practice and knew that is not the car for me. And I got collected with a UMP at the finish line early in the race. It almost threw me out of the track. And then I pulled a super fast pit stop and was able to jump P3, and then just tried to set sail and don't mind anybody. Just click my marks and put the laps down. So it was a ton of fun though. First one, definitely hooked, definitely ready for the next ones to come. So I'm excited for the future.
That is great to hear. We asked Zach about the pit entry, but he said he backed it down quite a bit. How aggressive were you going towards pit lanes? Of course, it's not really designed for it, but these trucks needed splash of fuel here.
Absolutely freaking out coming into pit lane. I mean, I knew that I had to make up some kind of time. I didn't know what Joey was going to do, if he was going to take tires or no tires or whatnot. So I was just clicking my tires off going down the straightaway because I forgot to do it at the start of the race, and I came in barreling into that pit entry. So luckily we got it down to 25 miles an hour, which feels like you are just crawling in that truck. But yeah, we were grabbing some handles trying to shut her down to get her down to speed.
Well, great to hear you were able to nail that stop and hold on for second place. There is one more thing I feel like I have to ask, because I've got a friend who's been using a certain racing number for a good few years now, and is a little bit haunted by some recent developments in the meme space, let's say. I saw that Caden was in the 67 and you're in the 607. Is it for the reason that I think it is?
Oof. I wish I could like add to that possibility. Unfortunately, I haven't had the pleasure to meet any of them yet. 607 it was my dirt bike number growing up, so I always had it while I was racing dirt bikes. And I had one of my best friends back in the day, Bo Caskey, was 907. So I kind of pulled off his coattails and ran 607. And for the longest time, it was part of my phone number. My phone number was actually 607 in my name. So it was just a number that's always stuck with me. And I was pretty pumped to hear that 607 was available for this.
All right, wonderful. I always love hearing stories around people numbers being chosen. So it's great to hear, and I'm glad it's not because of a silly internet meme.
Yeah, no. I wish. I mean, if I would have known, maybe I would have agreed to that. But no, that it's just been a 607 is just part of me.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing that number around special stage for a long while to come, hopefully. If there's anything you want to say down to the fans at home, now is time. Congratulations.
Yeah, just appreciate all the followers and watchers, and anyone that's supporting this group is good by me, because it'll just grow and get even better. So excited from P2 on the box and my first one, and hopefully many more to come. And yeah, super happy to kind of find the group that's here and see what the future holds.
All right, well, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you around.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate everything. Thank you.
That was your second place finisher in Pro 2 Light, Chad Ball. There's one other driver that I do want to pull in here tonight. And I think this caption pretty much says it all. Let's talk to the lead admin here, number 400 of Matt Schlosser. Matt, so you threw together quite the idea for this race tonight. Again, normal until you realise what the third class was. Talking from a human who was driving it and not the robot that is Tom and Hymus, how was that UMP to handle around here?
Oh, it was a handful. I don't know how Tom did it, but I had to tow back to the pits 4 times. I don't know if you saw in the broadcast, I barrel rolled on lap 1 because I got clipped in midair by one of the trucks. And it was a battle from there. But yeah, I got the hang of it after a little bit. It feels kind of, the left-hand turns aren't so bad because the car is designed for it, but the jumps are really tough. You have to kind of half throttle it over the jumps unless there was some better way to do it that I didn't know of. But it was tough, and it was hard to stay out of trouble in traffic, but it was really fun. I mean, once you kind of get the hang of it and realize you can't go 100% or else you'll just destroy the thing, it was fun to manage that and get in some battles. I had a good race with Paul Ellison for 4th place. But yeah, it was pretty fun. I was delighted with how that turned out, and also pleasantly surprised we had 8 or 9 other UMPs, because I thought people would have been more scared to run it, but that was pretty cool. So really fun night.
Yeah, I think we were just talking to Chad, and Chad said did some practice in the car, and then went maybe not. I felt we had a few people hop in with confidence that they'd be able to handle this thing, and then Tom was the only one who was really proven right on that.
Yeah, Tom was in his own league. He's obviously very fast in anything he touches, so not surprised. But I think he beat my qualifying lap by 5 seconds, which was pretty impressive. So hats off to him.
Well, a crazy race. You come home 4th in the end of 8 drivers in the UMP. Not a bad result. But talk us through what's coming up on the special stage calendar throughout the month of November.
Yeah, so we're actually starting our next Pro Truck season on Monday, and it'll be the first ever Monday special stage race. We're expanding into Mondays, so we'll be a 2-day league. So the Pro Truck Season 3 will be on Monday. And then Fridays, we're going to have Craftsman trucks on dirt ovals, and that's going to be a collaboration league with Tommy Cook and Joshua Matacek. So that'll be a collaboration with Dirt Tracking and Truck 200 to do Dirt 200 specials. So it's going to be a lot of dirt racing and a lot of trucks. It should be really fun, and hopefully we get anyone who's in the league who's looking to try out some dirt racing. All new drivers are welcome, or anyone who's watching and wants to check it out, feel free to jump in. But yeah, it should be a pretty good month of racing. I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, that is going to be a lot to look forward to. And let's not forget, that Pro Truck Series is going to wrap up over at Wheatland, which is a track that we currently do not have in iRacing. I'm very excited to get a little bit of new dirt road content to mess around with, and we'll see how that goes. But is there anything else you want to say to the drivers, the fans, anyone here one final time tonight? Matt, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who came out tonight. We had a really good turnout. Obviously, with it being Halloween, pretty cool to get a good number of drivers to show up for the race. So that's really good. Thank you to you for the broadcast and JCTV. Yeah, congrats to tonight's winners. And that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you so much for putting this on. We'll see you around.
All right, thank you.
And that was a crazy, crazy night here in Nevada. You see, lights are out. We are heading deep into the spooky night. As Matt mentioned, Pro Trucks starting up on Monday and carrying on for the next 8 weeks. And then the Dirt 200 is going to be running on the Friday slot for the upcoming events. It'll be up on the channel Racer Nexus for the Pro Trucks, and of course it'll be Turn 200 for the Dirt 200 event. We will hopefully welcome you back to JCTV before too long, but for now, at least for tonight, I say thank you so much for joining us here, and I hope you have a great rest of your Halloween night.